Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna,
Krishna Krishna,
Hare Hare,
Hare Hare,
Hare Rama,
Hare Rama,
Hare Rama,
Hare Rama,
Rama Rama,
Rama Rama,
Hare Hare,
Hare Hare.
See if my cartel. Somewhere in that bag. Somewhere in that bag. Some up there like that. So this year, as you probably are aware, is the 50th anniversary of Srila Prabhupada's arrival in USA. Most auspicious year, 1965, September the 17th, when Srila Prabhupada arrived in Boston. I want you to tap every time I finish a mantra. Are you with me? Leave it there for the time being. But when we finish the Om Vishnu Padaya, then you tap that so we go on to the next slide. You understand? Don't do anything until we finish. Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prestaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Iti Namine
Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prestaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Iti Namine
Namaste Sarvate Devi Kodabhaya Pujarine Namaste Shadu Sunyavadi Askachari Shakarine
Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Prasarine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Ashtakadi Shakarine
Hare Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Devasari Gauravata Vrinda
Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasadi Gaur Bhaktavrinda.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare
Krishna, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare. Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada. Jaya Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Jaya Jaya Prabhupada.
Go Premanandi, Prabhupada ki jai. Jai Shri Shri Radha Gopinath ki jai, Shri Shri Raghunath Holiday Prabhupada ki jai, Shri Radha ki, Shri Prabhupada ki, Shri Jayananda Thakur ki jai. Go Premanandi. Shri Shri Guru Rambo, Shri Shri Prabhupada. Namo Om Vishnu Vidaya Krishna Vishtaya Bhutale Shimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Name. Namaste Saraswati Guru Chani Tasesha Sri Hare Krishna. Thank you very much for coming this evening and to go take advantage of this golden opportunity to increase or let's say deepen our relationship with Srila Prabhupada, the founder of Charity International Society for Krishna Consciousness, the Sikha Guru, to all members of ISKCON. Everybody has a relationship with Srila Prabhupada, just like you have a relationship with your father, your grandfather, your great-grandfather, everybody, especially with the grandfather. The grandchild usually has a very strong relationship with the grandfather. So Srila Prabhupada, even if we take it like that, is at least our grandfather, your grandfather, so to speak, those who were initiated. And he's the Siksha Guru for everyone, whether we're initiated by Srila Prabhupada directly or not directly. He is our primary Siksha Guru, and it's through Siksha that our path back to Godhead is possible. Srila Prabhupada has given us the Siksha. The business of the Diksha Gurus in ISKCON is merely to help facilitate that Siksha and to take responsibility to help us to follow that Siksha on our path back to Godhead. So it's very important that we understand deeper and deeper how much we are indebted to Srila Prabhupada and how we should try to imbibe, let's say, the mood or the wish of Srila Prabhupada, how we should, as we mentioned earlier, Jayananda Prabhupada said he was proud to have a disciple like Jayananda Prabhu. So we should also feel like that. We may not be officially initiated, but we're all following the footsteps we're trying to of Srila Prabhupada. So this evening, we haven't got much time. This normally goes over 2 or 3 sessions. We're going to clump it into one. This evening we're just going to cover more or less this event, this particular significance of this year among many things. Because Prabhupada has arrived in the Western world, which is 500 years or so ago when Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and his associates were spreading the holy name to every town and village in India. Their desire to be Yachi Yati Nagarati Ram Sava for patrol leaving more than on. Lord Chaitanya's desire was that this holy name be spread to every town and village. This was his prediction, his statement. He came with this purpose. He came for 2 specific intentions. To experience Krishna Prema along with the congregational chanting of the Lord's holy name. So together with his followers, his associates, his eternal associates, they accompanied the Lord to take part in this transcendental pastime called Sankirtan within this Boma of Vrindavan, or this realm of Boma of Vrindavan, within this material world, and spread the holy names everywhere. That was his wish. He ordered every man, woman and child to take up this movement and spread this Krishna consciousness everywhere. Krishna Pradesh. Become a guru and spread Krishna consciousness. He also said that he preached this Sankirtan even amongst the untouchables, and with a wreath, that means like a garland, of the holy name and Krishna Prema, he garlanded the entire material world. And that is the mission of this Krishna conscious movement, to embrace everyone within the realms of Sankirtan. So that was Lord Chaitanya's prediction. Now I will have to skip a lot of this. I'm just going to briefly run through it so you get the idea. 5,000 years ago or so, Narada Muni, in great distress, approached Lord Krishna in Dwarka about the condition of this age of Kali and how living into this age of Kali will be delivered. They seem to have no spiritual interest and they seem to be entirely materialistic. The Lord assured Narada Muni, it's a long story, I'm cutting it very short. Eventually Narada Muni even visited Krishna, Radha and Krishna in Goloka Vrindavan, and there he got the darshan of also the original personality of God in his Gauranga form, who manifested before Narada Muni, and Narada Muni swooning in ecstasy before Lord Gauranga. Then Lord Gauranga said to Narada Muni, I will destroy, as this verse says, I will destroy the sinful activities of the age of Kali with the powerful chopper of Nam Sankirtan. I will cut the hard knots of demoniac desires from the hearts of everyone. Even if the sinners reject religion or flee to foreign countries, still they will get my mercy. I will send more Senapati Bhakta, my chief field commander, to go everywhere and deliver them. These are the words of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Lord Gauranga, 5,000 years ago. Lord Chaitanya may have appeared in this world 500 years ago, but he's eternally existing. He sometimes manifests himself very, very once in the day of Brahma. But just like Krishna, he is eternally existing. It's not like he's, just happened to appear for the first time 500 years ago. He's eternal form of the Lord, original form. He is the Adi Purush. He is non-different of Radha and Krishna himself. Is another aspect of Goloka Vrindavan, that merciful form, that Udarya form of the Supreme Lord, known as Gauranga. So he assures Narada Muni he will appear in this age, and with the chopper of Nam Sankirtan, he will cut out all the sinful activities of this age of Kali. And he will send more Senapati Bhakta to anywhere where people escape from that. So that's one statement. There was another time 5,000 years ago, also when Ganga Devi approached the Lord in Dwarka, feeling very distressed about the impending age of Kali, which was about to begin. And she realized that in this age of Kali that people would just simply come to her banks, to the Ganga, and they would simply take bath in her waters and dump all their garbage in her water, just like now people just dump their garbage left, right and centre. That they would go there for the simple reason of dumping their sinful reactions, but no intention of changing their sins. So she wasn't very interested in that. She said, I want to get out of here. I want to leave this place. I don't want to appear in Kali Yuga. The Lord said, no, you please stay, because very soon Mantrapashaka will be appearing. Mantrapashaka means the worshipper of the holy name. I will send my Mantrapashaka, and he will go all over the world, and he will deliver even the Chandalas and the Mlechas to pure devotional service. And they will come, and they will bathe in your waters, and you will feel great happiness. That was another prediction at that time. Now, Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, of course, when he appeared, they spread the holy name in every town and village in India, or what we call India now. But you can say the opportunity, the privilege to take it further afield was left to the followers of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and specifically in the Gaudiya line. From the time of Bhaktivinoda Thakur, this mission started to take solid, form. Lord Chaitanya here, he said in distributing his love, he doesn't discriminate. He said this Krishna consciousness will inundate the entire world and drown everyone, whether it will be gentleman, rogue, lame, invalid, or blind. So wherever they got the opportunity, the Panchatattva would spread the holy name. So same thing now, wherever the opportunity is there, we should try to spread the holy name of Krishna, as in following the footsteps of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's Sankirtan party, who delivered even the most fallen souls like Jagai Madai, the mercy of Nityananda. He's Guru Tattva, the spiritual master's business. Prabhupada said the hallmark of the Mahabhagavad, he wants to see the holy name spread all over the world, to everyone. And in a lecture in 1974 in New Vrindavan, Srila Prabhupada said again and again, the prime symptom of love of God is one wants to see the holy name spread everywhere, to every single person in the world. And he said it 3 times, the prime symptom of love of God. They want to see that everyone is drowned in the Sankirtan of the holy name. And the Lord is ordering everyone to taste this nectar. Now, after a few centuries, of course, it seemed like not much was going on as far as spreading it to every town and village. Not even in India, most of the Vaishnavas have become rather let's say, more like Bhajananandi rather than Goshtyanandis, more like Babaji mood. But in the 19th century, Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur has resurrected this preaching mission, Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur. Since his time, the preaching of Gaudiya Vaishnavam was very low-key and even misunderstood. So in the 19th century, Bhaktivinoda Thakur took it upon himself to, let's say, reawaken the fire of Sankirtan. We haven't got time to get into his achievements, but one thing he did do, amongst countless achievements, was he made this amazing prediction. Lord Chaitanya did not invent himself to liberate only a few men of India. Rather, his main objective was to emancipate all living entities of all countries throughout the entire universe and preach the eternal religion. Very soon, the unparalleled path of Harinam Sankirtan will be propagated all over the world. Already we are seeing the symptoms. Oh, for that day when the fortunate English, French, Russian, German, and American people, basically he means everybody, includes the Australians, will take up banners, madungas, and cartels and raise kirtan through their streets and towns. When will that day come? Oh, for the day when the fair-skinned men from their side will raise up the chanting of Jai Sachinandan, Jai Sachinandan Ki Jai, and join with the Bengali devotees. When will that day be? On such a day they will say, our dear brothers, we have taken shelter of the ocean of Lord Chaitanya's love. Kindly embrace us. When will that day come? That day will witness the holy transcendental ecstasy of the Vaishnava Dharma to be the only Dharma, and all the sects and religions will flow like rivers into the ocean of Vaishnava Dharma. When will that day come? a personality will soon appear to preach the teachings of Lord Chaitanya and move unrestrictedly over the whole world with his message. That prediction was made in 1886 in the writings of Bhaktivinoda Thakur and Satyendra Toshini. In 1874, Bimala Prasad, or later Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Goswami Maharaj, Srila Prabhupada had already appeared in 1874. In 1896, in Calcutta, Abhaicharan, Srila Prabhupada, appeared. This is a scene, maybe something like what it was like around about that time. There were no motor cars, there were no, you can see there's no pylons, telegraph poles, and millions of electric wires everywhere, and everything else you see on the streets of Calcutta if you go there now. It was clean, and it was basically, of course, there's a bit of horse dung here and there, but it was all horse carriages. There were no motorized vehicles. So Srila Prabhupada appeared in Calcutta in 1896, that's the best occasion. And this is just quickly running through a few slides here, a short time. Prabhupada, in his early life, of course, he was married. In 1922, at the age of 26, he first met his spiritual master, Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati. I don't have that picture here, we should put it in. But he first met him in Altadunga, on top of the roof of the little center there in Calcutta. And at the very first time he met Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Maharaj Prabhupada, he was a follower of Gandhi at the time, and his friend Narendra Malik. They were followers of Gandhi. And when they entered into that place, it was on a rooftop. Very simple, just a few devotees there. The mission had only recently started. And Bhaktisiddhanta Maharaj, seeing Prabhupada, then of course not by Charan, now we know him as Srila Prabhupada, he said, "You are educated young men. You should make your life's mission to spread the message of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu all over the world in the English language." Now that was the first words he spoke. Imagine if somebody said that was your first words spoken to us. We've never seen them in our life before. We don't know what on earth to make of that. But that was his first words. He immediately picked up, this is the personality. This is the personality to fulfill this prediction of Lord Chaitanya, or this instruction of Lord Chaitanya, the prediction of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu to Narada Muni, the prediction of Lord Ganga Devi, and the prediction of his father Bhaktivinoda Thakur. But this is the person. He gave him that instruction in the very first meeting. So Prabhupada, of course, he went there after some discussion. He was convinced that actually this man, this Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Maharaj, is indeed the pure representative of the teachings of Chaitanya, and his whole life changed after that meeting. He became a permanent follower. He accepted Bhaktisiddhanta Maharaj as his life and soul from that moment. He was married, however. He had a child. This is maybe his first child. This is his wife on the left side, his father on the right. Living in Calcutta, he had to maintain a family. He had 4 or 5 children. He had a business, pharmacy business, maybe in the pharmaceutical world. Prabhupada had his own medicines, days, pain, liniment. It cures everything. Bruises, headaches, sciatica, insect bites, gout, rheumatism, all pains. So that, materially speaking. But the real medicine, of course, Prabhupada really did have. Later on, he revealed that to the world. But at that time, he was not known. He was in his heart, of course, everything was there, but it wasn't revealed. But when he did retire from his family life in around about 1954, he spent much of his time residing here in the Chippiwater Temple, which is in Chandni Chowk in Delhi, Old Delhi, and he would stay there. This is a bit of the room that he used to stay in above the temple. And there he would arrange for the publishing of his Bhaktivedanta magazines, and later on his Srimad Bhagavatams. And whilst he was still in India in the 1950s and early 60s, very simple, he would go on his own to the paper supplier. He would buy the paper as cheap as possible, take it on a rickshaw across to the printer, edit all of his literature, all of his publications. He was doing everything, just to say he had no money. He was living from day to day. When he was not there, this is one of the earlier editions, this is 1944 edition, when he was still at Riyadh from Calcutta. He published his Back to Godhead magazines. Even there he was trying to fulfill his spiritual master's order to preach in English He tried very hard in India to do that. When he did retire, and eventually, of course, he stayed in different places in Vrindavan. Mostly he stayed in the Vamsi Gopalji temple, near the Radharaman temple there. The last 2 or 3 years of his staying in Vrindavan, before he left for the West, he resided here at the Radha Damodar temple. And behind those arches there, in that little veranda, on the right side was Prabhupada's bedroom, on the left side is his kitchen. And if you move further to the left, you'll see there's a little gate, little open space, and behind there you can see the edge of Rupa Goswami's samadhi, that red kind of deep-looking thing is the edge of the samadhi. And if you go further to the left, that is, to the left, and if you go further to the left, you'll see the staircase steps going up towards the altar of the Devas of Radha Vrindavan, Chandra Madhava, Chaitanya Towns. And Prabhupada resided there a lot of the time from 62 to 65. Sometimes there, sometimes in the Chippiwada temple in Delhi, and sometimes traveling and preaching. And Drayton and Navy was always thinking how this would be possible. He was a lone ranger, he had no mission, he had no real support from his brothers to preach his message anywhere. He knew nobody pretty much to help him. He would sit in his room, this is the Rupa Goswami Samadhi, Prabhupada would meditate on the Samadhi. He could see the Samadhi through the window in his kitchen. This is looking out the window, exactly, but that's the window there, sort of on the leftish side, and Srila Prabhupada was sitting at his table doing some translation work, writing purports or whatever. And one day, Prabhupada said he had a vision. Rupa Goswami appeared before him and assured him not to worry, that he should be confident and go ahead with his mission, and then he would be there to support him. So you could see through that window Rupa Goswami's samadhi, and one day Rupa Goswami appeared to assure him of his success. Prabhupada displaying his Srimad Bhagavatams in India before he was able to leave for the Western Hemisphere. He had great difficulty, eventually, by Krishna's divine mercy and intervention. One man, and Mr. Agarwal in Agra, he said, Swamiji, I will ask my son to sponsor you going to America. Well, Prabhupada thought nothing more about it. It was a casual meeting, but that Mr. Agarwal took it seriously, and he asked his son in America to sponsor Swami Prabhupada to come to the United States. Mr. Agarwal's son didn't think anything of it. He said he'd done it before, he never thought anyone would ever come. So he did, he sent the sponsorship letters, and all of a sudden, from the American embassy, the sponsorship letters arrived from Prabhupada at the Radha Damodar temple, saying your sponsorship is now approved, now you can apply for your passport, visa, everything. So Prabhupada went ahead, got his passport, there's a picture of his passport, which he first used when he went to America. Wonderful documents. But then he had great difficulty getting his P form, which is from the Bank of India. They refused it again and again. Eventually he forced his way to the top, and he spoke to the head of the State Bank, Mr. Rao, and eventually Mr. Rao said, all right, Swami, you have approved your, the State Bank of India's approval so you can actually travel out of India, even though you had no money, no bank account, no support, no one in America, nothing. He was a lone ranger, to say the least. But Krishna was with him. So eventually, after a great struggle, he got all that was required except for a ticket. And then when he met Samati Maharaji, who previously helped him to print Srimad Bhagavatam, she finally agreed. That was also another struggle. At first she rejected the idea, saying he's too old. He would only go there and die. What's the point? She didn't want, she wasn't into it. She thought he would just go in there for sightseeing or something. She didn't really, but she joked about that. And Prabhupada insisted, he just really insisted, no, you cannot do like this, you must help me. And eventually she said, all right then, Swamiji. And she gave him a ticket. On one of her steamship companies, she was the head of the Skindia steamship company, and she gave him a free ticket on a cargo ship destined from Calcutta to New York, known as the Jaladuta. And Prabhupada going up the gangplank up towards the up the side of the ship to board the ship on Friday, August the 13th, 1965. Very, very lucky Friday the 13th. Friday the 13th, August 1965. Prabhupada boarded the Jaladuta. A momentous occasion. as he went up the gangplank and waiting for the ship to set sail from Calcutta all the way to New York. So the ship set sail on the way in the Indian Bay of Bengal. It was quite rough, probably had some seasickness. It had docked in Colombo, probably had a quick tour of Colombo, and then the ship set off towards Cochin in Kerala, and there the Srimad Bhagavatam was loaded on board of the ship. 200 sets of Srimad Bhagavatam came down from Bombay. They were loaded on board, together with the Srimad Bhagavatam, 3 volumes. Not exactly the most attractive or, let's say, saleable presentation for Western audiences, to say the least. And it's very ancient-looking printing. The English was rather archaic, and the printing was rather lopsided, and the pages were all some were upside down, and some were the wrong way round, and some were cut differently, and it was very rough from the Western standard of printing. But that's what Prabhupada had. That was his only weapons as he went to the Western world, together with this leaflet, a little pamphlet describing this message of peace and goodwill to the Western world, which Prabhupada also brought with him. And there's the boat, the Jaladuta, the messenger of the water, crossing the ocean. Looks in pretty good shape there. Anyway, the Jaladuta means the messenger who crosses the water. So Srila Prabhupada, or the messenger of the water, was certainly also the Jaladuta. He was the messenger of the water traveling on the Jaladuta. Another shot of the Jaladuta. Looks like it's in the dock it's stationary. And it's also empty. The Jaladuta, I don't know, it probably came to Australia. It came to New Zealand. It did dock in New Zealand. Probably docked in Australia too, before it was scrapped. Now on the way, Srila Prabhupada had a dream. He had a very hard time in the Arabian Sea. It was very rough sea, and he got very sick. Eventually he had a heart attack, 2 heart attacks, he said, on the ocean, and he thought he was going to die, and he didn't think he would ever make it. But Lord Krishna appeared to him in a dream one night and assured him not to worry, that he would be okay. That the Lord said, I will take charge of the boat. And in my many forms, as you see at the back there, is the Lord in many forms. And they're actually rowing, they said, we will be rowing a boat, and to make sure you get safely to America. And unlike sometimes we hear that they were on the Jaladuta, they were not on the Jaladuta, according to Radhamani Prabhupada told him that the Lord was rowing the boat in front of the Jaladuta. There was another boat pulling the Jaladuta across the ocean, making sure the ocean was not very rough, making the sea very calm. And even Captain Bandya, he said, when the boat finally arrived in America, he said to Prabhupada, he said, please return with us, because he said this is the smoothest crossing we've ever had on the Atlantic Ocean. Prabhupada said if the Atlantic Ocean had shown its normal face, he would have died. So Krishna protected him on that journey. He had a mission. And eventually, on September the 16th, Prabhupada was about to arrive. Now on September the 17th, the Jaladuta docked in Boston Harbor, Commonwealth Pier, on September the 17th. And we just have a few slides here, a few things we may say. With Prabhupada, we docked on Boston at 10 a.m. He got his visa, 2-month visa, he got when he arrived there. That's just the sign for the Commonwealth Pier. That's an aerial view. On the right side is the Commonwealth Pier, the left side is the fishport. And that's the front view of the Commonwealth Pier. Sorry about the quality, they're just some downloads from the internet, they're not very good. Resolution is very poor. That's a site, looking from the Commonwealth Pier towards Boston. Maybe something like what Prabhupada would have seen when he arrived there in 65. The first time he's seeing this kind of a scene. In India at that time there were no such things as skyscrapers. This is good. Well, he did see a few probably on the way, maybe in Port Said or somewhere. He had no money. But when Prabhupada first came, the ship on Boston Port, he said, I was thinking, I have come here, I do not know what is the purpose, because how the people will accept this movement. They are differently educated. As soon as I will say, so my dear sir, you have to give up meat eating, illicit sex, intoxication and gambling, they will say, please go home. So I was thinking that I would propose something which is impossible. Anyway, let me try. And I think how they'll accept this. There's no way they're going to. When his godbrothers went to England and they made this proposal to the Earl of Zetland, a pious Englishman who had previously been, I don't know, governor in Bengal or something. And he said, Srila Prabhupada's godbrothers were sent in the 30s to London, and when they met this Earl, the Earl said, can you also make me a Brahmin? So they said, yes. And he said, how is that? Well, how can I become a Brahmin? And they said like that. They said, you have to give up meat eating, illicit sex, gambling, and intoxication. The man said, impossible. Absolutely impossible. So like that, if I was thinking how they will possibly do it, they will be able to do this. Yeah, he also, Prabhupada also said one time, my godbrothers, they made an attempt to preach in Europe, a couple of countries, like Germany, Sweden, England, maybe one or two others, and they didn't have much success there. So Prabhupada said, if I'm going to fail, let me go to somewhere different at least. So let me go to the big place, America. I mean, if you fail in America, you know, you're not too big, surprising thing to happen. And as Prabhupada gave the example, if you're going to shoot something, then at least shoot for the rhino. Because no one will expect you to be able to shoot a rhino. If you shoot for a rabbit and miss it, that's not very much of a credit. If you try for a rhino and miss, nobody will be surprised. I was thinking like that. At least we go to the big place, the Big Apple. Go to America. And it was Prabhupada, later on, Prabhupada went to see again, walking on the docks at Boston Harbor, near the Commonwealth Pier, right in front of the Commonwealth Pier there, at a later date, maybe someday. And sponsor for a month, yeah, there's a subject of that sponsorship. Probably only had a little bit of an extra thing. And how he renewed his visa, great difficulty, month by month. Every month or two he had to renew his visas. And somehow or other he managed to get some little bit of money. He had no money when he arrived. He only had 40 rupees in his pocket when he arrived in Boston. What do people, it's nice, there's some comments before we get on to the essence of his time in Boston. What if people, is a question Pujam asked, don't want to hear a message? And Prabhupada replied, the people may not understand our message, but Krishna will be pleased. And Prabhupada said, and that is our mission. We must not be disappointed. No one is hearing Krishna consciousness. We will say it to the moon. We will say it to the stars in all directions. We will say it, we will cry in the wilderness because Krishna is everywhere. We want to get a certificate from Krishna that this man has done something for me, not popularity. If a pack of asses say you are good, what is that? We have to please Krishna's senses with purified senses. So who cares if everyone in the world says very good? And fame amongst the infamous. And every year, and this year will be, there will be an exception, this year will probably be the biggest ever, but there will maybe 1,000 devotees. There's usually a few hundred devotees. They go around on that day on September the 17th or thereabouts. They hire a boat, one of the local boats which goes around the harbour, kind of tourist thing. They usually hire a boat and go around the harbour every year on that day. And you've got 100 devotees pile in. We have a festival. We've been there a few times for this. Hear and chant about Srila Prabhupada and about his mission and so many things. And different devotees talking, and then kirtans and prasadam, and go to the Commonwealth Pier, and sing Arkanate Bhagavat Dharma or say or something or another. Like that, offer arti to Prabhupada, do puja, and then flowers for Commonwealth Pier, different things. Just to remember how important that event was. So what we're going to do now, is anyone here expert on harmonium? I mean really expert. Anyone? I mean, I don't really, really expert, because you probably wouldn't say you are. Is there anyone here really good on the harmonium? You have to be able to follow. It's not just there play and leave. You have to follow. If there is, then please follow. We're going to sing this song now. Now, this to me is, practically speaking, a lifetime for Krishna consciousness. It's the mission statement. We talk about mission statements, and we do see mission statements of ISKCON and very practical mission statements. But underlying those practical mission statements is this song which Srila Prabhupada compiled, this poem which he compiled on board the Jaladuta in Boston Harbor in 1965 on September the 18th. This is the first written, let's say, the first thing Prabhupada wrote when he arrived in America. He'd written 4 days earlier, September the 13th, on board the Jaladuta, Prayer to the Lotus Feet. We won't sing that tonight. We may, if we have time, we might read it. On September the 13th, he compiled the Prayer to the Lotus Feet, which is basically like his own mission statement. This Markandeya Bhagavatam, which literally means preaching Krishna consciousness in America. The first thing he compiled, and it is so tantamount to the success of our movement. This is a mission statement for the members, I would say, of this movement, for all of us. It is the mood which we all need if we want to be instrumental in spreading Krishna consciousness or becoming Krishna conscious. If we want to please Srila Prabhupada, in this particular poem, Srila Prabhupada actually captured, you could say, every essential need of an aspiring devotee, or somebody who wants to represent the Supreme Personality of Godhead. In this poem, you'll find humility, dependence, courage, hopelessness, everything, helplessness, everything is there, determination, and so on, so many things. We ask, where do we get these from? It comes from remembering or absorbing oneself in this mood of Srila Prabhupada, on this most amazing. The whole world did not know. Nobody in the world knew. Prabhupada had written this. It was not published then, came up later, but it was something. It was between him and the Supreme Lord. This is a personal interaction between Srila Prabhupada and the Supreme Lord himself. So we're going to sing this now. If anyone is expert on harmonium, please accompany. And I do request everyone to please try to sing in tune. If you can't sing in tune, please sing silently. Very deep. Try to meditate on this. We're on Boston Harbor, on board the Jaladuta, alone, Srila Prabhupada, sitting in his room, compiling this Markandeya Bhagavatam, with a very amazing mission ahead of him. He has this daunting, in a sense, responsibility. I'll tell you a story. One time in London, Srila Swami, GBC of the UK, he was the GBC at the time, when there was a great challenge to the worship of Bhaktivedanta Manor, the local council were trying to bring to an end, and the whole case became a very big issue. It became a national issue. It went to Parliament House, it went to the Queen, it went to the highest ranks of decision-making bodies, and they were debating how to deal with this touchy situation. So it came to the Queen's counsellor, who represents the Queen in Parliament, and he was an elderly gentleman who was supposed to study the case and give an opinion on behalf of the Queen. So Srila Raj went to see him, and he looked at Srila Swami, and he said to Srila Swami, he was in his 70s, this man, he wasn't following any of our principles. He was definitely not following Krishna consciousness. He'd never met Prabhupada. He'd never practiced any, direct Krishna consciousness, so to speak. Meat eater, drinker, this, that. So he looked at Srila Swami and said, you do not know what a wonderful thing your teacher has done. Srila Swami didn't know how to answer because, he dedicated his life to Srila Prabhupada. This man, what does he know about what Srila Prabhupada has done? Of course I know what a wonderful thing he's done. What am I supposed to? I can't say you're wrong. Of course I do. He had to speak in such a way that the man would try to support us, He certainly couldn't get into an argument with such an important man, so influential. So he had just a recognition, something like that. Not exactly saying yes, but recognizing yes, your statement is correct. But the man was, he had a little bit of intuition. He could see that Srila Swami did not understand what he meant. And this man actually had taken it upon himself to read, I think it was the abridged version of the Prabhupada Amrita. just to find out what was going on behind this movement. He went out of his way to find out a little bit about us. And he said, no, you don't understand what a wonderful thing your teacher has done. And she ran out, you know what, he was quiet, he hadn't said anything. He said, and I'll tell you why. He said, because you were in your 40s, I'm in my 70s. You do not know what it is like when you're in your 70s. What he has done is humanly impossible. That's what he said, more or less. He said, it's impossible for a normal person to do what your teacher has done. He was very impressed. The Srila Prabhupada at that age, with no support in India, with no money, with nowhere really to stay in America, had nothing, really speaking, materially. No support. He was a lone man, alone, completely alone, materially. And how possible he could have eventually done such a thing as this is not possible. Others go, and many have come later, but not like that. So we're going to sing this now. I need a button presser. I don't think we have a harmonium player, but it's better no harmonium than a bad harmonium. Isn't it? Better none than a bad one. Although they say sometimes a blind uncle is better than no uncle, but when it comes to this, I think no uncle is better than a blind uncle. Here's the button. You want the button pressure?
Yes.
You can see where press it at the relevant time. Any one of those. Press this one. You have to just tap it. Not yet. I mean, when the devotees have finished that fine, it's pretty easy. Malcolm is from Newcastle. Not a computer wizard. Not a technological wizard. He's not an IT specialist. He loves devotional service. Someone can play Madonna, I should imagine. Is that possible? Vasudev Tata Name Krishna Vasudev
Hare Krishna
My dear Lord Krishna, you are so kind upon this useless soul, but I do not know why you brought me here. Now you can do whatever you like with me, but I guess you have some business here. Otherwise, why would you bring me to this terrible place, America? Most of the population here is covered by the material modes of ignorance and passion. Absorbed in material life, they think themselves very happy and satisfied. Therefore, they have no taste for the transcendental message of Bhakti Devi. I do not know how they will be able to understand. But I know your causeless mercy to make everything possible, because you are the most expert mystic. How will they understand the mellows of devotional service, O Lord? I'm simply praying for your mercy so that I will be able to convince them about your message. All living entities have come under the control of the illusory energy by your will. And therefore, if you like, by your will, they can also be released from the clutches of illusion. This means that we cannot even come into this world without the will of the Lord. Because of our misuse of our free will, the Lord facilitates us. But without His will, this world does not exist. And by His will, we're placed in this world because of the misuse of our will. And similarly, to get out of this world is not within our power. It's only by His will is it possible. And the means of getting that, so say, the will of the Lord, or the mercy of the Lord, is the mercy of the right hand. I wish that you may deliver them. Therefore, if you so desire their deliverance, then only will they be able to understand your message. The words of the Srimad Bhagavatam are your incarnation. And if a sober person repeatedly receives it with submissive oral reception, then he will be able to understand your message. If you understand the message, Krishna Bhagavad Gita says, Yanda karma chame vidlam, evam rudhita. Upadeham pramadam, naiti naiti sorjina. One who understands the transcendental nature of my appearance and activities does not, upon quitting his body, take birth again, but attains to my eternal abode as This is the process to understand the transcendental nature of the Supreme Lord. That is the mercy of the Lord that we're able to understand His nature. he will become liberated from the influence of those of ignorance. And thus, all inauspicious things accumulated in the core of the heart will disappear. Sri Krishna, the personality of Godhead, who is the super soul in everyone's heart, and the benefactor of the truthful devotee, cleanses desire for material enjoyment from the heart of the devotee, who has developed the urge to hear his messages, which are in themselves virtuous, when properly heard and chanted. By regular attendance in classes on the Bhagavatam, and by rendering a service to the pure devotee, all that is troublesome to the heart is almost completely destroyed, and loving service unto the personality of Godhead, who is praised with transcendental song, is established in irrevocable fact. As soon as irrevocable loving service is established in the heart, the effects of nature's modes of passion and ignorance, which is lust, desire, and hankering, disappear from the heart. Then the devotee is established in goodness, and he becomes completely happy. Thus established in the mode of unalloyed goodness, the man whose mind has been enlightened by contact with devotional service to the Lord gains positive scientific knowledge of the personality of Godhead in the stage of liberation from all material association. Thus the knot in the heart is pierced, and all misgivings are cut to pieces. The chain of fruitive actions is terminated when one sees the self as master. How will I make them understand this message of Krishna consciousness? I am very unfortunate, unqualified, and the most poor. Therefore I am seeking your benediction, so that I can convince them. For I am powerless to do so on my own. Somehow or other, O Lord, you have brought me here to speak about you. Now, my Lord, it is up to you to make me a success or failure, as you like. O spiritual master of all the worlds, I can simply repeat your message. So if you like, you can make my power of speaking suitable for their understanding. Only by your causeless mercy will my words become pure. I am sure that when this transcendental message penetrates their hearts, they will certainly feel gladdened and thus become liberated from all unhappy conditions of life. Oh Lord, I'm just like a puppet in your hands. So if you have brought me here to dance, then make me dance. Make me dance, oh Lord. Make me dance as you like. I have no devotion, nor do I have any knowledge. I have strong faith in the holy name of Krishna. I have been designated as Bhaktivedanta. And now if you like, you can fulfill the real purpose of Bhaktivedanta. Signed, the most unfortunate, insignificant brother, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami, on board the ship Jaladuta, Commonwealth Pier, Boston, Massachusetts, USA, 18th of September, 1965. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama Rama, Hare
Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare,
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare,
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
We're going to jump through this real quick. After many months in America, Srila Prabhupada finally he stayed in this place in the Bowery, the second building from the left, the taller one of the two red buildings. On the top floor is AIR Loft, Artist in Residence. He stayed there, shared the place with a young man whose name is Paul, exactly what that's the name is. And he stayed there for some time, and eventually he left there for other reasons. And then Mukunda and others, they found a place here in 2nd Avenue, the famous 26 2nd Avenue. Srila Prabhupada stayed there for several months preaching, and that's where the movement really became established. Prabhupada was alone, actually, walking most of the time in New York up till then, on the streets of New York. A lone person, really, on the corner of Houston and 2nd Avenue. And that's the front of the little shop, Matchless Gifts. A very appropriate name. It was called Matchless Gifts before Prabhupada moved there to preach. He had a little room behind to stay in. And that's where the mission really started, in Tompkins Square Park. Washington Square Park on August the 14th was the actual first place where public Harinam took place. Prabhupada led the devotees to Washington Square Park, not Tompkins Square Park. And that was the first public kirtan in Washington Square Park. But the real efficient, well, let's say effective, public kirtan started in Tompkins Square Park. That was much later, October. And here, at one of those occasions, some of these boys and girls are now initiated. This is the first time devotees chanted, where Prabhupada's playing on his little tom-toms around in the park. People gathered around. Here we have Brahmananda and Ajutnanda, the first two devotees to rise up and to start to dance in the kirtan. Prabhupada's sermon in the park. This famous picture underneath that famous tree in New York. There some devotees around him in New York and Tompkins Square Park. Newspaper articles in the local hippie magazine and also in the New York Times on October the 16th. Inside the little place in 2nd Avenue, at that time Brahmananda, Rajarmuni, Radharani, there on that picture, and the others I don't know who they are. And we're going to have to jump through all of this. I'm sorry, little time left. Yeah, one last thing we want to present. This is the tree. Now there's a plaque on that tree, Prabhupada's tree in the park in Tompkins Square Park. They recognize it as Prabhupada's tree. It's a special tree. There it is in the middle. That's how it looks now. And on the left side there, behind this fence, there's also another kind of display there which explains the significance of this place and how here basically the spreading of the Krishna consciousness really began in a public way at least. Prabhupada then traveled many times around the world, fulfilling the predictions and the desires of the Lord and his devotees in London, New York, and Moscow, different places. We're just going to finish with this now. This is a very significant Vyasa Puja homage. I think you can just squeeze it in there. Offered to Srila Prabhupada, and it's very relevant to the event of this year, Prabhupada's 50th anniversary of his arrival in Boston, to spread Krishna consciousness in the Western world. Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Vastaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Niti Namaste Saraswate Devi Gauravani Prachari Nirvishesha Sanyam Ashtato. This offering was compiled by a boy named Sarvadrik, who lives in the Prabhupada village in North Carolina. Please try to hear this. It's very deep, and how much we're indebted to Srila Prabhupada and how important this event is. The poem which we just sang just now, Markane Bhagavat Dharma, I highly recommend you sing it regularly, or at least read it regularly. It is so important to keep our relationship with Prabhupada and understand, what is the secret? What is the secret of Krishna consciousness? Very simple. It's revealed in that poem, very simple. Something wonderful occurred in Boston, Massachusetts, in September of 1965. This was the most auspicious day human society has known for hundreds of years, because it was on this day that Srila Prabhupada stepped off the Jaladuta and placed his lotus feet on the soil of America, thus changing the destiny of the world forever. Someone may say that such a statement is the exaggerated sentiment of a disciple. A subjective opinion, it is not. There is an objective truth to be pondered here that will give us a tiny glimpse of the glory of the person we know, love, and worship. His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. If Srila Prabhupada had not come, hundreds of temples would never have been built. Krishna-conscious farm communities would never have been established. Tens of thousands of devotees would never have accepted initiation and a life of Krishna consciousness. Literally millions and millions of people would never have even heard the name Krishna. And Google searches would turn up only a handful of obscure encyclopedic references. There would be no Hare Krishna cinema, no devotional music, dance, or art. There would be no deity worship in tens of thousands of homes and temples around the globe. Millions of devotees would never have taken prasadam. There would be no Hare Krishna restaurants. There would be no Bhagavad Gita, no Srimad Bhagavatam, no Chaitanya Charitamrita, and no Nectar of Devotion in English, Spanish, Japanese, Russian, and dozens of other major languages. There would be no BBT. Tens of millions of people would never have received one of these priceless books, which illuminate the highest objective of human life. A multitude of prolific Vaishnava authors that followed in Srila Prabhupada's footsteps would be busy writing about some other topic. There would be no festivals, no Harinam Sankirtan, and thousands of pious souls who took birth in devotee families would be looking for another planet, some other planet to be born where Lord Chaitanya's Leela is occurring. There will be no initiations, no devotee sangha. All will be void, sunyata, if Srila Prabhupada had never stepped off the Jaladuta. This point of view is not the annual rambling of a fawning disciple. It is not fanatic eulogy. These are hard, irrefutable facts. Whatever we know about Krishna, and frankly whatever most anyone knows about Krishna outside of India, at its beginning in those first sacred steps at Boston Harbor. Someone may say, well, what about all the other devotee preachers who came after Srila Prabhupada? We would respond that while their service to Mahaprabhu's movement is indeed glorious, each and every one of them eats the blessed remnants of the plate of Srila Prabhupada's powerful kirtan, which showered grace on every continent of the world. He was the pioneer. He showed the way and he slashed through Kali's dark jungle, clearing the field for generations to come. It is only by his dedication and sacrifice that there is any kind of preaching field at all outside of the borders of India. If he had not come and laid the foundation, there would be no waiting devotees, no dakshina, no initiations, no rides from the airport, no prepaid air travel, no accommodation, no temples, and no devotee homes for preaching and expansion of missions. The only reason that any of these facilities exist is because Srila Prabhupada stepped off the Jaladuta. Ask any Walla in Vrindavan or Mayapur who's old enough to remember what the town was like before Srila Prabhupada left the divine shelter of Shri Shivada Damodar Mandir for the Lower East Side of New York City. They all know that it was Srila Prabhupada who put the Lord's hometown on the map and brought crores of rupees, temples, new constructions and prosperity to otherwise materially impoverished villages. All of Vrindavan's and Mayapur's worldwide renown exists today because Srila Prabhupada stepped off the Jaladuta. Today, Kirtan is the rage in public venues filled with eager participants. But Srila Prabhupada was the original Kirtaniya, the first who sat in Tompkins Square Park with his little tom-tom, drumming out the rhythm of Lord Krishna's holy names before any of these people were even born. Sadly, he is not given credit. But today, Harinam Sankirtan reverberates in yoga studios and devotee homes and temples, on downtown sidewalks and at music festivals in nearly every country of the world, only because Srila Prabhupada stepped off the Jaladuta. And finally, we're all sitting here in the blessed association of devotees, remembering and appreciating his qualities and his influence in our lives, in one of hundreds of such gatherings around the globe, only because Srila Prabhupada stepped off the Jaladuta. Let us ponder these truths, and as we meditate thrice daily, chanting Om Gurudevaya Vidmahe Krishnanandaya Dhimani Tanno Guru Prachodayate. Try to grasp the meaning of this sacred mantra. Try to know Srila Prabhupada and the degree to which he pleased Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, how much he was absorbed in doing so, and let us attempt to fathom the breadth and depth of Srila Prabhupada's accomplishments. Doing so will cause the creeper of devotion that he planted in our hearts to blossom and bear the fruit of love of God, and allow us to be fixed at his lotus feet forever. There is nothing else worth having. Srila Prabhupada's servants of Prabhupada Village, North Carolina, USA. Srila Prabhupada ki Jai. Srila Jayananda Thakur Kiruba Mahotsav ki Jai. Gaur Premanandi Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya So those are the first footsteps of establishing a house for the whole world to live in. It's a house where we're taking shelter of Krishna. It's not a building, it's a state of consciousness. Nothing in the world to do with building big temples, big buildings, etc. That's only to facilitate that change of consciousness, where we can live under the protection of Krishna. Srila Prabhupada showed and gave us all the opportunity to experience. So this year especially, please try to make an extra endeavor to take shelter of the Siksha of Srila Prabhupada and to realize just how much we are indebted. There would be nothing, no gurus, nothing. None of us would be here if it wasn't for Srila Prabhupada stepping off the Jaladuta. Srila Prabhupada ki Jai. Gaura Premanandi. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna. Tomorrow,